Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite girl, Oni. Thank you all for those who have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, can I know why? Okay, I don't want to know why. Can you please subscribe? That's the only form of support I get to keep going. It can really be tough combining work, combining school, combining every other thing with trying to put out video. Please, I beg you, subscribe. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about how I got my first job. I came into the UK on a Friday and I had to go to work and I had to go to school on Saturday. That Saturday was actually the last day I was going to be accepted for my course because the whole journey of coming down to the UK for me was it took a whole lot from me, okay? That is just another story for another day. I came in on a Friday, and Saturday was the last day of acceptance into my own course. So I had to pick up my BRP card and go to school on the same day. But by the time I finished, it was kind of late. So I got to the post office and there was a long queue. If I had to wait to pick up my BRP card, I'll miss lectures a lot. So I left. I didn't pick up my BRP card that day, that Saturday. I went to school first. And before I got back to the post office, they had closed because I didn't finish class up until 4 p.m. So I go to school. So I go to school only once a week, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yes. Okay, so after class is that Saturday, I got to the bus stop. And while I was there, this other young lady that God used to connect me with my first job came to the bus stop too. And she just said hi, and I said hi. She asked me if I was coming from school, of course, and I said yes. She asked me my course, and I told her, which sounded strange to her. She hadn't heard of the course before. She asked me how many times I go to school. I told her once, which was also an interesting thing for her. We just laughed over it, and she asked me what I did, what country I was from. I told her, and she said she's from Namibia. Florence, I want to say thank you so much for talking to me and not withholding the information you have from me. Thank you so much. I don't think you get to see this video, but if you ever do, this is the girl you supported. This is the girl you gave her first job. And I pray that God blesses you and keep you and help you achieve that particular dream you say you want and even more. Okay, so back to the story. She asked me what I did in Nigeria before coming over. I told her that I've been in the education sector for over 10 years. And she said, wow, that means you can work with these people. And I asked her who. She gave me all the information I needed to get within that short period while we were waiting for the bus to come. So I asked her if it was possible for me to mention her name when I call the people. And she said it's fine, but that they may not respond because it's a weekend, but I can drop some messages for him. I got home that Saturday. She even followed me to ensure I got the right bus because, it was a bit confusing for me and I usually don't miss my way. So the way I came in was not the route she took me through when I was going back, but we still got the post office, which had closed at the time I got there. So when I got home that Saturday, I sent a message to the number she gave to me. I didn't receive a response until the next day, which was Sunday. And I think the message came when I was in church. I didn't see it until we got back from church. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this guy responded," and I let him know that I Florence gave me his number. He now gave me a list of things that he needed me to do. He asked for my email address first of all, then sent me the list of things I needed to do. So we concluded. My BRP was one of it. Police check from Nigeria was one of it. My CV and reference from my department here in the UK, and it was kind of strange to me because I had just seen my lecturer once. How am I going to be asking for reference? But that's what they wanted, so I had to give him the email address of one of my lecturers, the one that taught us the day I went. So I gave him the contact, his email address, and let him know. I didn't even tell him. I forgot to tell that my lecturer that this had happened. But when I got to school the next Saturday, I let him know that I dropped his email address as my referee because that's what the organization wanted. He said that's not a problem. And that particular lecturer is now my tutor. Okay. So I submitted everything they asked me to do, and they need to do a DBS check on me, which was what made me wait. Okay, so if you look at it technically, I met all the requirements to start working the same week. I came to the UK on a Friday. If not for the DBS check, I would have started working the next week. But because the DBS check is as important as anything, they had to run the check and ensure I do not have any criminal whatever attached to my name, and that children can actually be safe around me. Okay, that's the essence of the DBS check. I had to wait, and DBS checks take usually between 5 to 10 working days, which is approximately 2 weeks. So I had to wait the 2 weeks. I had to wait for the DBS check to come out and come out clean. That was why I didn't start working immediately. And most of the jobs I was seeing were more of warehousing jobs, cleaning jobs. But at a point, I was like, okay, whichever one I see, I'm going to do because. Okay, so I had to wait for the DBS to be out. My DBS did not take up to 2 weeks. It took. I submitted it on the. When did I submit? 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. 12th. I think I submitted. I paid for it because you have to pay for it. It's around £49. I submitted it on the 13th. So, and the reason why I delayed was because people were advising me not to pay yet, because some organizations can actually do it for you for free if they really want you. That's what they said. But it doesn't happen like that with all organizations. For this organization, they require you to pay for your DBS. Okay, so when I waited and I didn't see anyone, I just went ahead to pay. So I think I paid around the 13th. I'll have to check my bank app to be sure. Either the 13th or the 14th. And on the 21st, my DBS was out. The 21st or 22nd. So it didn't take up to 2 weeks. And immediately they got the information. I don't know how they received it before me. They were the ones who even called me up to say my DBS is ready, that it should have gotten to me. But at the time, I had not gotten it. And I had left the place where I first stayed when I came to the UK. So I had to call them to ask if there's any letter for me because that's the house address I used. And they said there's no letter for me yet. So I just let them know that this is what I'm expecting. Once any letter has my name on it, they should let me know, which they did immediately it came. So I picked it up, and Immediately they told me that my DBS was ready, they said I could go to work. And I needed to show my DBS at the place where I am working. Remember, I said DBS is as important, is more important than you going to work, because they are particular about the children being safe around any adult who is coming to the school. The safeguarding policy in the UK is really tight, and they don't joke with it for anything. So immediately they got the information that my DBS was out, they asked me if I was ready to work. But that day in particular, I had already um, scheduled for a meeting with my tutor, so I declined, and I didn't want. It was our first tutorial. It was our first meeting as my tutor, and I didn't want to. He asked me over the weekend, and I agreed. So this one came up on Monday morning, and I said no, I can't. I can't move my tutorial, so I declined working that Monday. So on Tuesday, I started working. So if you have not seen the video of how I did my first job, please, it's somewhere there. Just go and watch it, and please subscribe, okay? So that's how I got my first job, through Florence at the bus stop of the university, and it has been good. I also asked them if it's possible for me to share their information with you people, and they said yes. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about the organization, where they are located, and how you can start working for them. What I'm not sure of is if you can, there's no way you can do your DBS outside the country you're in. So you may just have to wait until you come into the UK to start the whole process. Okay, so that is how I got my first job in the UK, and it's been good. I do not regret. Regret is just not a word to use here at all, and I'm grateful to God that I got that this opportunity. I'm grateful to God that I got this opportunity to be doing what I'm doing, because it's really it is an experience for me that I do not take for granted. Okay, so if you're thinking of coming into the teaching um, environment, or you're already a teacher in your home country and you want to continue to teach, if you come to the UK, please just hold on for my next video. I will explain um, how they work and how to get in touch with them. And if there are questions you have, you can leave them in the comment section. I will ask them and get back to you if possible. Okay, so that was how I got my first teaching job, my first job in the UK. And I am going to be sharing with you people here how everything, how to also work with them. Okay. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in my next video. And for now, bye.